Every time I saw that guy wipe out on his scooter, oh, it was amazing. He was this older guy.
Well, that's always funny though. People falling always.
Wait, an older man was on a what? He was on a scooter?
He was on a scooter. He was riding like a Harley, and he came whipping out. It was one of those. I was on the other side of the road, and there was this concrete divider, and he was going too fast, and he couldn't make the turn, and he hit the concrete thing, and he high-sided and went like up and over, just like landed and just slid on his face.
Oh my God!
And I had to stop my car, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was the first guy there. And he had rolled over on his back, and I walked up to him, and he was just like unconscious, just going like, just like spitting teeth.
Well, get to the funny part.
Oh my God!
The funny part is when this cop finally shows up. The guy was like fucking like 55. It's like, should you have been retired by now? When did you start becoming a cop and you're still driving a cruiser? So he pulls up and just completely could give a fuck. He just walked up to the guy. He had his hands in his pockets and he just looked over and he just goes, "You all right?" Yeah, it was.
You'll relate to this. When I was a kid, I don't know if you ever saw this, but there was some Christian network. Back then, there was nothing on TV. There were a couple of channels. There was never anything good on. And there was this show that we used to watch that was made with sort of claymation puppets called Davy and Goliath.
Oh, yeah.
And Davy, and they always supposed to have a good moral about how to behave. Davy was a boy who would sometimes do naughty things, and then he'd learn his lesson, and it was put out by some association of ministers. I swear to God, my brothers and I would watch this because you would flip the channel, and they're bowling on one channel, and there's a Catholic mass on the other channel. So you'd watch Davy and Goliath because at least it was a story, and there was some claymation. Right. Anyway, Davy and Goliath go camping with the dad and the mom, and Davy goes off, and he sees a well, and... or he sees a beautiful natural pond, and he finds some paint, some raspberry paint, and he pours it into the pond, turning it all bright, red. And
it's a big bucket.
And, yeah, huge bucket. Well, it's a little pond. And then he's laughing. He says, "Look, Goliath, I made a big thing of raspberry goop." And then the father comes in and yells at him and says, "Look what you've done." And all the animals are gathered around and they can't drink from this pond anymore because it's been ruined. My brothers and I were laughing so hard. We were crying. We were laughing so hard. I'm telling you, I understand exactly what you're talking about. I think these animals ended up dying. And my brothers and I are on the floor laughing that Davy had said, "Look, I made a big thing of strawberry goop." It's terrible. I'm sorry, but
there's no reason to apologize.
Yeah,
they were claymation animals.
No, there is.
Like nobody died. Did you ever pour raspberry paint into a pond?
No, I saw that. Fine. But if I had,
you can sit there and laugh. You know what I loved is when Davy every once in a while would get into a fight and he would get the shit kicked out of him. Uh-huh. Because it was claymation, it didn't have the money. His hair was still perfect, and then they just put a couple of strands of clay on his forehead to indicate that Davy got his ass kicked. They have no idea what we're talking about. This show was on 65 years ago.
Yeah. But I'm trying to explain our childhoods. This is what it was like back then. That's what there's nothing to watch, nothing to do. And occasionally someone in the house would lose their temper in a way that would frighten you. And then it was never spoken about again.
Yeah. Yeah. That was it. My brother, I don't know if I'd ever tell you this. My brother was like a genius, man. My parents used to argue. He had a dual cassette boombox, and he used to record the argument and then put music underneath it. And one of the greatest ones ever was he put Led Zeppelin "No Quarter," which has this really, John Paul Jones plays this haunting keyboard. It was right there. It was scored perfectly because it started off slow with them going back and forth, and then gradually, and just Robert Plant, "Close the door, put out the light." And right as Bottom's drums, came in, my dad, fuck, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Dude, and we used to listen to that fucking thing for like years. And then we finally played it for my dad, and he laughed his ass off. He's like,
Oh, he liked it.
Oh, he thought it was hilarious. He thought it was fucking hilarious. He never understood anything. We had him watch The Great Santini one time, hoping that he would get it, and he didn't. He ended up just loving the movie and just walking around going, I am the Great Santini. We're like, no, Dad,
it's about a dad who's very abusive to his son.
Yeah, who loves his family but doesn't understand that he's slowly killing everybody.
Yeah. And your dad watched that and thought, thank you for showing me
he thought
this uplifting film about how we should all behave.
It was like Sleepless in Seattle to him. When Harry met Sally.
All right, we're going to wrap this up. I want to make sure I get your, do I have to